got TW all the way on the left coast in Northern California. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to another year of UVA basketball on the Locker Room Access. What an exciting time. What a cautious time. I don't know. There's so many words you can use for what's going on now. What a confusing time. What a special time. What a unique time. Guys, jump in. Don't hesitate. There's so many words to talk about. I know for me, there's optimism because I think Ron Sanchez is such a great guy. I got to know him when UVA was recruiting Ty, and just one of the nicest, most poised guys. As a matter of fact, I remember there were a couple of things that happened that remind me of how poised he is. They lost a game like his freshman or sophomore year, Ty's freshman or sophomore year, I think. And I was all bummed. It was a regular season game. He's like, it's okay. It's really okay. We're going to be fine. And then
now you got me thinking we're screwed. It's not okay. It's not okay to lose, Marky.
Let me give you and then during the Clippers tournament when he in Charlotte, because Ron Sanchez was the head coach in Charlotte during the time when T-Dubs was there, Dougie was there, right, at the conference tournament. Yep. And we lost to Florida State. And I was talking to coaches and talking to Ron, like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to fix everything, right? And we had it control. And he was like, we're good, be easy, right? And what happened? Right?
Yeah, that's the only time in the last gazillion years I wanted us to actually lose the game. I didn't want to win that tournament. I wanted to win the other tournament. So it's okay.
Well, whether you want to or not, okay, that's fine as long as we won the big one.
That's right. We won the year before.
Yeah, the conference tournament. Yeah, but I'm talking about the NCAA tournament. So anyway, but welcome everybody. Let's jump into. I should say before we jump into the coaches, and we just want to highlight a few guests and talk about them for a quick second. We want to mention Ryan Garca, who's going through a second round of chemo, who's just a great friend of the program and a great dude. I know, Dougie, you're on with him a lot on the forum, and he is just one of the nicest guys I've met. And T-Dubs, I know
it's one of the cool things from this. We've gotten to be friends, and so we text, and he's a huge UVA memorabilia guy, which you and I discussed. And he's always finding like a card of me from 1993, or he sent me one of my practice jersey one time. He just sent it to me. I guess I had given it to him when he was in camp. That's the connections, right? That's why we do this.
And I know T-Dubs have a long relationship with him too.
Yeah, same. He was on our podcast showing off all of his game jerseys and stuff like that, and his love for the program really shined through, and we kept in touch ever since. So definitely sending our best. I know everyone's going through it, but him especially needs thoughts and prayers with him. Always fighting the fight, but we wish you the best, Ryan.
Yep. And Dougie's working on something special for him as well.
That's right. Shout out to the Jerome family and Grant Kersey with the assist.
If we can get it, then we'll let him. I mean, we'll just send it to him.
It's tough dealing with these NBA stars, Marky. You know what I mean?
I'm throwing it to you now to talk about another friend of the program who's really special.
Yeah.
Dougie.
Yeah, so, one of the special guys that I went to UVA with and Doug went to UVA with, we were in the same recruiting class. Sean Wilson, you guys have heard us talk about him at some point. Big Red was a special guy, just an awesome personality and a sneaky good player. Doug played with him on the AAU team out of, I guess, Nashville. Sean passed away. It was a tragic thing. But what I want to report is that everybody has, kind of gotten to a place where it's good. And his two daughters, Chloe played at UVA. She was her last year was last year on the volleyball team. And Claire just played her final game, or actually it was her senior night. She's medically retired because she had an injury. But Big Red's family's doing great. We miss him. We love him. We always want to remember him because he was such a big part of our family and program and all the guys from my era. So happy for the family. I got to spend time at South Carolina. They actually played my daughter at Auburn in her final game. So I was up there, saw the family. It was a good moment for a couple for a family that has been through some tough times, and everybody's come out as best as they can, feeling good. And I'm just happy to report back that everyone's good. I also saw Dawn, and I reported that in LRA about my half hour with Dawn Staley, which was kind of incredible.
Big stuff.
Can you just share a couple of quick words about that, Hav? I didn't see that on the forum.
Yeah, so I went, I texted her. I was in her hometown. She's been there 17 years. I said, hey, I'm in town. And I text on, like, through her, like whenever they win a gold medal or she gets coach of the year, all these big accolades. And she always gets back because we were tight with me, Fresh, Dawn. Like the girls team and the guys team were pretty close back then. I don't know if they are now, but we were the only two teams on campus during like Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break. So we hung out with them. So we had a good relationship. I walked into Dawn's practice kind of right before it started, and the music hit, and it was impressive. It was a military type drill. They all got right into their stuff really fast. Nobody walked. She talked, she ran practice for a while, came and talked to me and said, I asked her about Tony Bennett. And she said, wow, that took me by surprise. I guess she had a somewhat of a relationship with Tony, being a legend. Talked a little bit about Debbie Ryan. And then we talked about NIL. And she said, and this I thought was really interesting. I said, how do you handle that? Because keep in mind, they won 2 of the 3 last national championships. And she's like, oh, it's no joke out there. You got to do it. But it's really easy. It's really easy for us. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, and by the way, the day I was there, it was a Sunday. A 5-star had just left, and there was a 5-star at practice. Like, these are like top, 20 girls in the country. She's like, it's really easy for us. I say to them, I can't pay you more than the girls on the court right now because they won a national championship. So for her, it's pretty simple. I don't know what the number is. I can't tell you, but the message is, if you come here, you're going to win one, and I can't pay you more than the girls who just won one. So I thought that was kind of cool. It was refreshing. Maybe it doesn't work in the men's game because it seems to rotate more, but Dawn's got a great thing going there. Facilities, staff, support, everything you'd want. And she said it was home for her. I said, what do you think about UVA? She's like, this is home for me. I've been here 17 years. So I know there's been a lot of speculation on UVA about, are we going to get Dawn to coach the men? I didn't get the sense that was something she wanted to, endeavor to do. But I will say that from facilities, like, it looked like a UVA practice. Like, they have the stuff that you need to get recruits to go there. So it was a nice visit with an old friend, and I'm happy to report back about that.
Thank you for sharing that, Hav. And if we have time, but we'll jump into some NIL later and talk about Iowa State seems to do it a little differently than most people. And we can talk about the influence or this potential influence of private equity firms jumping into NIL. So later on, but down the road. But right now, let's talk about coaching change. Let's talk about TV. Let's talk about Ron Sanchez. Let's throw it out there. Are we going to talk about Jay Willie? Let's talk about Kyle Guy. So, how many? I got the text from Ty at, I don't know what time it was, 3:30, 4 o'clock, this was coming out, Tony Bennett in caps, Tony Bennett retired. I was like, what? And I was like, I thought it might have been a joke. But then I was thinking, it makes sense. And we've been talking about this for a while. It's not something that wasn't looming. It's not something that hasn't been talked about or thought about. Was anybody else surprised? Was anybody else like completely shocked? Or were we like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, I can talk. I wasn't surprised in the least. I was only taken aback, and just to be completely honest, I hate saying that, but the timing, I would never have seen it happening that way unless there was some sort of an event. It's always something, right? And the forum likes to make light of he went on he was on vacation with his wife during fall break with Laurel, and they went to the Tides Inn or someplace. And the best is when Tony's doing the interview, the press conference at the end. He's like, we went on the Rappahannock River, whatever it's called. I think the place was called the Tides Inn. And so, of course, UVA fans are on what's the Yelp for hotels? They're like just bashing the place. Nobody should ever go here. It's horrible. But it's such a Coach Bennett. He probably didn't even know what hotel he was in. But I guess he reflected. I'm not surprised. Again, was a little surprised that he would quit before in the midst of the season about to begin, if that's a thing. The midst of the season about to begin. Can you say that?
Yeah. Which starts tonight, just to throw that out there. Duke is winning
record today, right?
Winning 4-2 against Maine. Their T-Dubs, we talked about it pretty.
We got instant reactions, right?
Yeah, we talked about the reactions. I think T-Dubs.
No, yeah, I agree. I was like, surprised overall, no. Timing, yes. I think that was the hardest thing to sort of wrap my head around. And the finality of it, it was like, you hear like, he's just going to retire. You don't know if it's actually going to happen. And when he did it, it was definitely personally sad, but also like, as long as he was healthy, I was cool with it. We talked about it on the post game. We know who he is as a person and what he represents. So if he was okay leaving with it as it is, then how can we not be as well? So that's kind of how I left it. But
Habs, what was your take on the timing?
Yeah, so I had a different reaction. I was like shocked, floored, angry, confused. Like I went through the emotions, and I think for me the biggest, I think everybody, so this isn't unique to me, but I think everybody went to health right away.
Yeah.
Does he have something? And what people don't know is that Fresh and I were committed under Terry Holland, and like we didn't have the internet, we didn't have tweets, we didn't have like all that. Terry Holland called up and said, like, I'm stepping down. I'm going to be like a lame duck guy next year. So like there was a little bit of a flashback there for me. Like, oh my God, like this is different. I'm very, I think Tony has earned the benefit of the doubt for sure, because he's just been such a pillar of like consistency and goodness and godliness and the pillars and all that. I didn't love the timing. I thought the timing would have been better in March. And there's arguments on both sides if you should step down early versus late. I personally didn't love the timing. I think it was a handpicked thing. And more importantly for me, and maybe Fresh, if he's willing to admit it, our teammate was right there, Jay Willie. And like, I love Jay Willie's fire. And Jay Willie, like, I feel like Tony kind of brought Jay Willie a lot of the 5 pillars in terms of like how he approached the game. But I love Jay Willie's fire. Like, and I haven't necessarily seen that in Ron. I know you know him better, Mark, and have had more contact with him, but I've been doing this with you guys for, I think this is our 6th year, five or 6 years. I really don't know. Like, I know more about like, obscure assistant coaches, media guys, trainers. I just don't know Ron very well. And that makes me a little nervous.
No, it's fair, very fair. And then when you look at how he did at Charlotte, question marks, but he's been successful under TB, and I think it's different recruiting. Certainly different recruiting at Charlotte than recruiting at UVA. And the level of kids you're going to recruit, right? And how much,
Sure.
it's also a much different environment now, right? With NIL. NIL is almost the first thing kids are going to look at and they're going to consider when they're going to a school, right? And you talked about Jay Willie, Tab, and Dougie. That's your guy, you and Have.
Right.
And I'm a big Jay Willie dude too, because, my relationship with him that developed over the course of time while my child was there.
Jay, this is family. I'm loyal, so I'm immediately first thing to me is Jason.
Yep.
Is he okay with it? Tony's okay, right? And thank you, Tony. He's treated me absurdly well. He remembers my family and go to practice. Doors are open, which I'm eternally grateful for. He hired Jason Wilford. I'm grateful for that. But at the end of the day, bam. And then it's Jason, and Jason doesn't get that after X number of years and all. So, we have a big chat with guys from our time, and that's your family. And it's real. It's 30 years long, right, Ab?
Yeah,
So,
for real.
Have what stage of the grief and denial and all that, where are you at this point with TB retiring?
No, look, I'm hopeful. So anytime you start a new season, everybody's hopeful. And I don't have anything bad to say about Ron. My loyalty to Jay Willie is based on 30 years, like Fresh said. So I was hoping he got the job. Now it's Ron, and Jay seems like to be right now happy where it is. So I'm all in. I'm not going to ever root against UVA, no matter who's coaching. But I'm hopeful. I think they've got challenges this year, Mark, and we'll get into that. It's a very different team. And we've heard about the offensive changes, which I don't think will happen. We've heard about, but what I did like, and this is my favorite part of this whole transition, because we've all kind of been lost at sea out here for a little while since Tony retired. What I really liked was Isaac and Tane got everybody together. They had a couple players meetings. Fresh and I have been in those. Mark, you were probably in those, at your place. Players only is where you get stuff off your chest. And my hope is that they worked out any kind of support issues, right? So they're in on this thing. It was too late to jump ship for everybody except for Worley. So now you guys are in the boat. You're out at sea. You're in the boat. Let's figure it out. And I kind of like that in a way. And I think it's going to be an exciting year.
So quickly about Worley, there's two casualties, right? There's Worley leaving, and then there's also the point guard, the commit that decommitted.
Yeah, Chance.
Oh, Chance. Yeah.
Right.
Chance from
Yeah, I didn't count him because he hadn't gotten here yet, but I know what you're saying. Good point.
I was going to raise that as you were talking about it, but I think it's that shows leadership, what you're talking about. Right. And UVA, I feel like, has been, and we've talked about it so often, having that leadership since maybe 2020. Right.
Oh, we talk about it.
Guys that are just close knit. But I think that part of that is the transfer portal. How can you have leadership? How can you have constant, some kind of chemistry or build and develop with guys amongst you if you're coming and going every year? Right. And now I don't know if it gets better, and it probably gets worse with NIL, because it's almost until there's some strict rules about NIL, right? Yeah. Where negotiations and structures of contracts are being negotiated every year. It's going to be insane. It's just going to be wild for the next.
What's bothered me about that from the leadership side? Virginia basketball, since me and Hav were there, is always hierarchy. John Friday's older. He's always going to be older, and you fall in line, right? The problem is when you have a transfer portal, a guy like Jacob Groves comes in last year. I'm forgetting who all came in. They try to fit in the beginning instead of Roadie showing up and saying, I'm the dog. This is going to be my, guys tend to fit in our program, right? And come up that way, but it's not the natural order of things because you haven't been there. So you can't be Isaac McNeely now, we'll talk about later, as a third-year junior. I mean, let's go, Isaac. You've been nice before. It was Reese, it was Kihei, et cetera. Of course, you fit in. You talk about Tony Bennett. Maybe Ron coming in and Tony, the legend, possibly Hall of Fame, et cetera, being gone, those guys will stop talking about Coach Bennett wants this, Coach Bennett, and how about we go play basketball? I'm hopeful there.
T-Dubs, you're also super close to the program and close with a bunch of the coaches and some of the players or some of the former players. Like, what's the deal with how impactful and how important has Kyle Guy become since TB's left?
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Charlottesville, I want to say 2 weeks ago and met with them. It's kind of missed them and went and saw them and hung out. And it was cool. It was like, we talked about TB stepping down, but this is like the extension of TB in terms of Ron and Jay Willie, and you got Kyle and you got Zay and Chase, and they're all there. They're all bought in. And I'm with Hav. I'm very hopeful. Like I'm curious to see what all pans out, but you can only do this thing sort of one step at a time. And everyone, for the time I was there, everyone seemed really bought in trying to figure out, all right, what's this mean for us next? Because we got a lot of work to do. And I think that's the mentality that they all have. I know it's like coach speak for them, but at least from what I saw, it looked real. Like they were. What else? What choice do they have at this point? They got to move forward. There was no like sulking and this and that. I mean, it is what it is. I know that's a bell, but
no. But I think you raised a good point there, right? Because you said what are the choices they have? They could have left, like Worley left.
Yeah.
Right, and one guy out of 12 left. Right. And who I'm not mad at. Like, so what do you do at that point? You get a new coach coming in. There's NIL out there. As when you were entering college and being recruited, you had 25 schools coming after you, right? Prior to NIL or just at the start of NIL. Well, prior to NIL, right? Because he was a senior. He's a senior now, right?
Yep.
So he would have been right in the board.
Yeah, his last year.
Yeah, he probably didn't have NIL when he was young.
Right. So what do you do now if someone comes after you? If he's getting 100, 150 at UVA and someone comes, hey, we'll give you 200, 250, or we'll give you 150, sit out this year and come be with us where you're going to have a program that's been established and you can come in there and here's what we have in store for you.
So what I would say is there's two things. There's NIL, what you talk about, Mark, which is real and it's money. But I also think, and this is why I don't really blame him, that guy, Worley, he was a ACC player. He came here, and I think and what was his specialty? It was defense, right? So he basically came to Obi-Wan Kenobi, Tony Bennett, to like become the next like really good lockdown wing.
Star Wars
all that.
Bell,
That's why he came
Bell.
here. Huh?
Star Wars references a bell. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
My
all
bad,
right.
Evan.
I think he came here to learn defense from Tony. And, people say, oh, he had a girlfriend here. I don't know about all that stuff. But, he left Florida State, drove north, call it 6 hours or, I don't know, 8 hours, whatever, to come play. And then Tony retired. So, like, when you talk about players that you feel bad for, I don't feel bad for guys that have played for Tony for 2 or 3 years because they've gotten that wisdom, like an Isaac, right? Like Isaac's been around. He got it. I know Tony said he was going to stick around, but he got it. The guys that came here, they came for Tony. Like as much as we love to say it's about the academic village and it's, Virginia and you walk the lawn, like basketball players now come for the head coach. So it's different for them. Yeah. With Worley, he's got 1 year of eligibility. I didn't blame him for leaving, especially if they had that meeting where he was going to not play and Day beat him out. By the way, I would not want to, and Fresh wouldn't either want to play against Day like every day in practice. That guy's just like he is a
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's very fast. He's like the kind of guy that's hard to play against.
Yep.
And maybe it became a PT issue. So, if Worley thinks I'm going to go away and maybe like if he's trying to make the NBA, good call to go away. If he wants to go to Europe, maybe he should have stayed. Who knows? Either way, that guy's going to make some money playing basketball somewhere for a little while.
Yeah.
So, but I can understand how he feels a little bit betrayed by it because, Fresh and I went through that. We signed up to play for Coach Holland. We played for Jeff Jones. Very, very different. And
you're like, maybe the transfer portal becomes addictive. Maybe it's fun to be in the portal, with the smoke and all that stuff. And boom, all of a sudden he comes to Virginia, does a preseason. He's been injured, sounds like, or a lingering issue.
Everybody's injured.
Coaching change happens. Maybe in his mind, Tony Bennett loves him. Maybe Ron doesn't. They're not dumb. I'm not saying they're smart. Meaning they're not kind of adult smart, but how coaches treat you. Maybe he thought, I'm not in favor at this point, and you can become addicted. You have 30 days to go find your new contract, right? I don't know Worley at all, but he didn't get what he signed up for. I'll give him that, right?
Yep.
That pass. So we had no choice back then. Coach Holland's leaving. All right, suck it up. Go to Slaughter and play and work hard. And
so this was like a marriage. He married Virginia, and they got an annulment, not a divorce. That's how I look at it.
I like it.
Yes, the marriage was annulled, like no harm, no foul. He was here. He got some cool gear that he'll wear.
By the way, have any of us ever seen Bliss and Worley in the same room? I'm convinced they're the same person, just different heights, because I can't tell the difference.
Let's get to Bliss later on, Marky, but back to you.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to go to T-Dubs in 1 second, but what we're talking about Worley, and I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this. You mentioned he got some cool gear, and now he's bouncing. Does he have to return NIL money? Did he get all his NIL money up front?
No,
no clue.
What's going on with this NIL and the structure? Is there a contract? Is there negotiations? Like, is there something structured that says you get paid in NIL for the first 2? I don't know when the payments are distributed.
He has free Bodos until December 31st. That's what I think. But T-Dub probably knows better than me.
That to his girlfriend then.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean it is not pay for play, so it has nothing to do with you transferring and you don't get paid. If he signed up to be spokesman for McDonald's at UVA and he did the work, he's getting paid. So I think that's across the board. If he did the work, then he's going to get paid.
He doesn't sound like an NCAA spokesperson. Like, it's not like these guys get paid. Like, how does it work? I have no idea. Like, I really don't.
So T-Dubs, if the contract states you have to social media post like 10 times every month.
Yep.
And he fulfilled his side of the contract for the month of September.
Yep.
And half of the month of October.
Yep.
Right. And so, but then the month of October he leaves. Or November 1st he leaves, or whatever the date was. So how does that work? And I don't know if anybody knows the answer to that. I don't know, like, if there's going to be a lawsuit filed. I don't know. Like, we've seen guys leave, like the quarterback recently who just left school because
UNLV.
Right, left because he didn't get his $100,000. And what about the quarterback from Florida, I think, and went east, came back to Georgia or South Carolina, wherever it was. He was supposed to get like $3 million, something like that.
$6 million.
Some outrageous number.
Mark, that guy's living in my guest room right now. Just telling you.
No, I mean legally. I mean, it's all these contracts.
He's still getting NIL. I hope he's paying the whole house bill.
It's $20,000 a month to live in my apartment.
No, I was going to say these contracts are kind of predatory. Truthfully, they're predatory in terms of they're favoring the brand, right? Because they have the legal team. So they have every reason at will to back out whenever they want. So for whatever reason, they're going to back out. So they can say it's not pay for play. but they can come up with some other reason, which I'm sure is stated in some kind of terms of service. But others may not care either. If you're McDonald's or Pepsi and he goes from Virginia to wherever the world he ends up, maybe it's okay. Maybe they continue that contract. I don't. Yeah, again, it's going to be case by case, and I don't think people really discuss that much. That it is really. Sadly, the athlete usually loses, right? Because they don't have a legal team behind them. They're not going to go to court and fight this thing out. And then these deals are usually done by these brands that sort of cover one side and not the other. So, this is
Mark, I got to show my shirt, dude, before I
T-Dub sends so many. He's so generous with his gifts, and he's so creative. So T-Dub shirt to have.
That's incredible.
It's the only official shirt ever printed for the 2007 Virginia Tech National Club Team Bass Fishing Championship, and I'm proud to wear it. And T-Dub, I have not worn it until tonight. I hung it in my closet. I put some Febreze on it every couple months just to make it fresh. I'm happy to have it. I just wanted to show it.
I knew you had to have that in your wardrobe. So
yes, I mean, and my ex went to Virginia Tech, so I can't wait to wear it this week for pickups and drop-offs with my kids.
I wasn't going to raise that until you did.
Oh, she'll hate it. She'll hate it, and that's why I love you guys. And LRA, that's good stuff.
So T-Dubs, getting back to the team. You were at practice.
Yep.
And you got a chance to watch the guys for how long did you watch?
A couple hours.
And what was your take? Who did you think looked good? Who do you think is going to start? Who do you think is going to get minutes? Is there someone that you think is under the radar who might surprise some people with their play this year?
I mean, I saw a really strange practice because it was after the loss in the scrimmage, their first secret scrimmage. So they were really focused. I think Jeff White wrote an article that summed it up really, really nicely. But it was interesting. They did a history lesson on the pack line, which was Sody did the history of the pack line. He talked about how Dick Bennett created it to battle the Giants in the Big Ten. It was really cool for get that refresher of this is why we do it, this is what it's for, and then they went into practice and they were prepping for Georgetown, and they were a lot of defense, getting back to the defense and the fundamentals, but then also some offense and playing faster. It was there. They're working on it. But in terms of who I saw, a bunch of people were hurt. I talked to E before. He was like, a bunch of people are banged up. So don't go crazy with what's happening. So it's hard to tell exactly who was being held back a little from being injured and all that. But Tane, he was on our pod not long ago, but he looked great. And I will be happy to hear that. He had a couple thunderous dunks that I was very surprised by. He looks really good. He's probably the one that I would say really stuck out in terms of he looks leaner and meaner too. So I'm excited to see what Tane does. So
did you notice anybody being vocal on the players side in terms of leader?
No, but over the years I never see anyone really truly be that vocal. But I think if maybe they need texting on the court, I don't know. It's tough. Right?
That's awesome.
I don't think it's
funny,
different kind of vocal. They might say one thing or another, but there's nobody out there just constantly talking.
No, the one thing I noticed, and we can get into this in a different realm when Mark is ready, but when I was at practice last year, I heard the name Roadie from players more than anybody else's, and it made me think. I'm sorry, I might be jumping around. It made me think
in a good way or a bad way, Fresh.
It made me think that he was the all-time quarterback, meaning everybody knew they could pass him the ball and get the ball back from him, type thing. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? My son Luke, who plays soccer, I hear his name. I go to a game, maybe because it's my son, but everybody's just saying Luke, and it's soccer. Nobody gives a shit. It's soccer, Luke. Good try. But the ball's going back and forth. Luke, get hit, Luke. Pass, Luke. And that's what I noticed with Roadie, which might be, a look into the reason he plays so much. But that was my takeaway that day. And I'm just trying to get after everybody. Reached at me up, iMac and Elijah, so I was good.
I think we jump into it, Mark. Like the biggest, I have like 4 big questions for the team this year, but like the biggest one for me is Roadie. And I think we should talk about him. He's dominating the LRA board right now, like when we talk about it. So like, let's talk about Roadie a little bit, because I do feel like, this is a guy that played at a low, I'll call it a low major. He came in with big expectations, not great, really bad season. I'll give you some stats. Right now. Fresh is pouring a beer. That's why he went off camera. He started 33 games, 25 minutes a game. He averaged 4 minutes per game. He shot 29% from 2, 25% from 3, 44% free throws, 1 offensive rebound. So, like, I think Roadie, nobody is rooting harder for Roadie than me, because he has the ability to maybe become really good. But I'll tell you this, last year was atrocious. It was bad. It was the worst starter in Power 5 statistically in the country. That's number one. And you had Elijah Gertrude sitting on the bench, activated, burned the red shirt. So I think that's kind of a felony by the staff. They don't have Elijah this year. Like Roadie this year, this is like a big question mark. People are talking about, is he going to play point guard? Is he going to play shooting guard? Is he going to – like Roadie's going to get minutes. And I think the big loser in all this is Tane, because Tane, at least when he gets in, is aggressive. He goes to the hole. He shoots threes. He either shoots a 3 or takes it to the hole. I don't know. It's a big question mark, and I think that's what our season comes down to. If Roadie steps up, it'll be impressive. If he doesn't step up, I said today on the forum, if he's playing 20 minutes a game, like we're not in the top half of the ACC, like not even close. He's where he'd be great? He'd be great on the 88 UNLV team. He'd be like a guy that just shows up and does stuff. Mark, I can see you laughing underneath your microphone. But like, that's the big question. If we play Roadie a lot, we're not going to be good. If we play Roadie a little, unless he's become like a really good player. But, I don't see the aggressiveness with him. He had 1 offensive rebound. I know I mentioned that. That goes to aggression. He's 6'6". Like TJ, Tristan Howe had like 3 offensive rebounds in 16 minutes for the whole year. Like, let's go. I need more from Roadie, and I want to see it.
I will say the last year around this time, all of us do our little pings to all the people we know of what's going on. I heard Roadie's name a lot in terms of guys to watch out for, in terms of like, hey, this guy's got some wiggle. He can do this thing. He's going to be good. I heard a lot of that.
He's a good pocket passer. What does that mean?
Really good at the pocket passes.
What is a pocket pass?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like just a dish when you drive.
For the record, when I turned my camera off, I had to take 2 steps to the left of my bathroom, and then I had to text my daughter, and I, of course, did refill my beer for this podcast. Sorry.
Okay, good. All right, good. So that's appropriate.
Huh?
But
I thought you were just trying not to go over on the over-under how many curses you were going to shout.
No. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
Look, I'll just say this. Like,
Renee Pettiford, wow. Any relation
he's
to
the big
Todd?
winner. He's the big winner this year. You got Jaden at left, right? Minutes tick up for Roadie at point guard. And people are like, oh, maybe he can like bring it up. I worry about him bringing it up. He'll be fine bringing it up. We're not like facing Arkansas 1989. Like people are not like pressing full court. But like Roadie, give me like 8 points a game. 8. If he gets 8 and shoots like 30% from 3, I'll be happy.
I like that. 8.
Yeah, let's not forget people do get better, and I think people get a lot better between their sophomore and junior year. He had a full year of playing ACC basketball.
Totally agree.
I agree.
He really didn't have such a good shooting season last year. I'm sure he's worked hard. He seems like a hardworking dude.
Yep.
And
disagree, but that's okay.
The expectations aren't going to be so high on him, so maybe there's not so much pressure, or maybe there is more pressure on him because he didn't have a good year last year. But he's got to be more successful this year, no matter what. He can't be worse, and we're all rooting for him, right? Is there anybody else, T-Dubs or Dougie, that you guys are excited about, or that you're hearing that we should be excited about, that's playing well in practice so far and have too?
Nope. No. You know who I really want to see? I really want him to be really good as Anthony Robinson. We'll talk about him later, A-Rob, because I watched him in practice and he just catches and he does the like grunt, boom, dunk, and he's working out and he's trying hard. I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's going to get minutes and all that type of thing at this stage, but he redshirted. Mark, you're a history guy. Like his grandfather was an Olympian sprinter or something, or a high jumper from his mom's side. And he has all this crazy lineage. You probably should have played. What's a really athletic sport have? Like curling or something. But anyhow, he lived in Saudi Arabia, maybe. He's an incredible story. It's really not talked about enough, but he's a total specimen. He'll end up DJing with Francisco Gaffaro and Rodney Cycli one day. But I want to see him. I really want to see him do well. I think he's a UVA guy too. I think he's a Virginia guy, decommitted from South Florida, right? I think South Florida.
No, he's from North Carolina. Rob?
Yeah, I think he was committed to play for. Another horrible story. Abdul Rahim, who passed away at US. Anyhow, I want to see him, and I don't care about bigs, So sorry, I'll talk too much.
I would say the other name I'm hearing a lot is Ishan Sharma-ish. Not because Forrest is in love with him, but because I hear he can really shoot. And I saw it in the scrimmage. I saw in the one practice. He has a really quick release, and it's high. It's a higher release. I like. Seems like I know he didn't shoot well in scrimmages, but we'll see how it plays out. He's a name I hear a lot. Like, oh, this guy's he's got a strap. He's going to be good. I don't know what that means. Take it this year or 4 years from now. I don't really have a good feel for that. But like in terms of what everyone says, they talk him up big. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table.
So with playing a little faster, that means that we're going to have to take advantage of our athleticism, right? Running up and down the court, pushing the ball ahead, getting to the bucket. Who benefits from that within this squad?
That's such a good question, Mark. So I would say that I don't think we're going to do that. Number one, I think we will say that before we play Campbell, but I don't think we're going to become different. Ron has said that. The players, Isaac has said that. They may push a little bit more. But what happens when we get punched in the mouth and we have to set up? I don't know. I want to see it. I want to see us get easy baskets. We all everyone's talking about on LRA. Everyone's talking backcourt. All right, let's talk front court. Like, is Blake going to be – can we throw it to Blake and have him make like a jump hook from 5 to 7 feet? Like, let's go. Let's get that done. I just worry about I mean, Ron's got a tough job. He's got to say, am I Tony Bennett 2.0 with the pillars and or do I scrap it and push? I think we'll revert back to like really conservative stuff. That's what I think.
T-Dubs, while you were at practice, and I know you said some guys were banged up, 2 questions. One was TB there?
TB was not there.
Okay. 2, is there any way to know, and Kim Wright just asked the question, who the starting 5 is?
I mean, it seems like you can pencil in a couple, right? I mean, IMAC, Blake seems like a likely candidate to start.
Day-Day?
Day-Day at point. Maybe Christian Bliss. I don't know. He was another one that looked like he was coming off some kind of injury when I was there. But yeah, what are our options really? like I don't think Sean Sharma's going to start.
TJ.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody on the forum said they heard from a very reliable source. It's not me. I have no idea. Day-Day, IMAC, TJ Power, Saunders, and Blake.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. And I think that's probably right.
It was Billy Hoyle.
It was Billy. 3 places as contained.
Really, it doesn't seem like a lot of options. I mean, I guess Roadie and Tane are fighting in there for starting, but I think Saunders, Blake, IMAC, those guys are pretty much penciled in as far
Saunders
as
is good. Saunders is really good.
And then Day-Day at point, you got one spot, right? Like you got one spot that's maybe up for rotation.
Cav, can you talk about Saunders a little bit and just talk about the influence you expect and the impact you expect him to have?
Yeah, I mean, that guy's good, right? We've seen him. We have film to look at from San Diego State, and he's really good. Is he Brian Stith? No. But is he good? But fresh. He gives me Stith vibes.
Yes.
If you right? And but it's
similar physiques, similar, slow motion.
Totally. I think he will become our IMAC. I think right now IMAC is our best player. Saunders is our second best player. I know there are guys on the forum that say like, "Oh, we can't go big." I play shooters. Like, when you talk about like the new day and age, we're not going to win games in the 50s. Like if we beat Campbell, I texted Fresh, maybe you guys, if we win 51-47 against Campbell, like, is that a win? I don't think so. I mean, it's a win in the win column, but like, we're not going to win games. We have to be able to shoot and score and perform. I think Saunders gives us like an insight. Brian Stith was not a 3-point shooter. He just got buckets. Sanders can maybe do that on a smaller level. I think TJ will be good. By the way, everyone's talking, oh, TJ, bring him off the bench. Put that guy in. That guy is 6'9", right? 6'8", 6'9". And I watched his limited time at Duke today to see like what he did. Offensive rebounding, like let's get offensive rebounds. He's 6'9". Don't let the other guys retreat. You go in, get a board. You're 6'9". That's Larry Bird size. Like get a board, put it back in. And I think there's some things we need to work with, but it's not in the Tony Bennett style of like send guys back, set up, defense. I'm sure they're still doing 70% of defensive work because there is concern around how we approach that. But if I'm TJ Power, I'm going to crash. I'm 6'9".
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Also have an incredible high school pitcher, TJ Power, at 6'9", coming off the mound.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like you know what?
Worcester, he's from Worcester, Mass.
When you look at Elijah Saunders, he played about 20 minutes a game, I think, last year.
Yeah, that's huge for us.
Rebounds a game. Right. So between him and TJ Power, maybe they're going to have to step up the rebounding. But you mentioned shooting. Where's the shooting coming from this year besides IMAC?
I was just going to chime in. I think Saunders is going to be our best player, like leading scorer, leading rebounder. I think he's going to be our best player from what little I saw. He looked great. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm curious. I mean, we don't have a lot of guys that have shot the ball well from the outside.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talk about there's going to be a lot of shooting. Can TJ Powers be a shooter? Can Nishan step up and hit? And has Roadie improved? I mean, IMAC is IMAC. He's going to be solid. But if everyone focuses on him and takes him out of the game, what happens? Someone else is going to have to step up.
Yeah.
And who's that going to be? Like, that's a question we'll get answered here probably pretty quickly.
Well, the good news is in the scrimmage stats that have been leaked, we're shooting about 2.7% from three. So that sounds good.
Yeah, but let's talk scrimmage for a minute. So, like, I get what you're saying, Fresh, that guys are not shooting well. That will change. I think the scrimmages are very controlled, and they say, okay, set up, you're down 4. Like, I don't think those are – that's why I said I'm not really going to comment.
I don't know yet. I've never been to one. I don't know. But when you shoot it, it goes in or it does not go in, right? That's it.
Fair, very fair. But I don't think TJ – I would say TJ Power and Sharma are good shooters, and they were horrible in the scrimmage. But so, like, what does that mean?
Do you think it up?
Are they?
Do you think the coaches said VCU send 5 guys at TJ Power while he shoots these 9 threes and he misses them all? No. I'm kidding.
TJ Power's
not fair.
Well, I mean, I'll say this: TJ Power really good at basketball, 6'9", and can shoot. Let's start there. Yeah. Let's start there and see how he does against the Campbell Camels. We're not going to get into Campbell right now.
We'll get into that when.
I'm so excited to deep dive into Campbell.
Yes, I know.
We've got about 7 minutes left.
I know. Sorry.
So much information, and I want to make sure T-Dubs has time to talk about fan engagement, and I want to and community impact, and closing remarks, and also we should do some quick predictions, expectations maybe, and we talked a little bit about expectations. Quick predictions really quickly, and then T-Dubs can take it away with fan engagement. Dougie, predictions real quick.
We're going to be just north of 500. This is the only time you guys have ever known me to not be.
Yep. It's every year you predicted an ACC championship.
But I will tell you something else. I will love every second of it. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
I would say this, like, I thought it was a really long off season. More so, I stayed engaged with LRA. Normally, I kind of check out. It made it longer. I think it's exciting this year. We have a little bit of a wrinkle with the coach, obviously. We have new players, and it's kind of exciting. I don't think I think we have 17 wins this year. That's my prediction.
T-Dubs?
I'm thinking about it in terms of like how we start. I think we're going to start a little slow. Schedule's relatively, I mean, it's not crazy. We don't have any really, really easy games. We've got some tough games. So I think we're going to start out a little rough. And then I think kind of like COVID year, I think we have a strong finish. And then we make a run. So we'll see. I'm thinking 5 or 6 in the ACC. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Maybe we can fight our way into the bubble. That's kind of where I'd like to be. What does that mean for Sanchez? I hope that means an extension, but we'll see. But I'll leave it. Your prediction, Mark?
There lots of question marks, right? Because there was some talk that I've heard that TV was really excited about this roster, saying it was one of the most potent and one of the most talented since, I guess, 2020, 2021. And maybe that meant income. I don't know what that means, because you got two guys who are doing incredibly well in the NBA since 2021, right? And Trey Murphy and our guy who plays with that team that's Havs loves. That's the Celtics.
Wow, big smooth.
Big smooth.
And Ryan, incredibly
great, right? And Ryan now, who's having, what a season he's having.
And Ty, by the way, Mark, don't be humble. Ty Jerome.
About that later, some other time, because I can't.
Per possession, Ty Jerome per possession on the court is averaging almost 2 points a game. The as a team, 1.68. How many can you get per possession? 3 points a game.
He's Tom Brady. He's Tom Brady right now. I'm telling you.
Hey, T-Dub, did you guys see that note from WFS who said he feels much better?
By the way, can you guys send WFS who a poop emoji to his I feel much better about this after the discussion?
Well, listen, we provide therapy in addition to talking analytics, right, and whatever else we talk about. So we're happy to make you feel better. WFS who.
Hey, I gotta shout out Mark. Sorry, real quick. I snapped on WFS who the other night. He's a great guy. I misread his text while I was driving. So we love the engagement with LRA, and that's my bad. So let's move on.
No, we just send him poop emojis. I just want to know if Renee Pettiford is related to Tahad Pettiford, because you never said that name, of Hudson Catholic in Jersey City, that Auburn point guard. Sorry. By the way, I love all the comments. We'll do better, guys.
Yeah, Jen with J Huff, talking J Huff, 4-year deal.
I love it.
Oh, I like it. There's a lot. We gotta. Hey, it's the beginning of the season. Full of hope. Everybody's excited. It's a new era. Let's embrace it and have fun on LRA.
It's gonna be.
Jeff Walker asked if we're gonna fall back into a 2-3. Don't get us started. Maybe
bring me the zone. Oh my God, bring me the zone right now. I want it right now. I've been calling for it for 5 years. Give me a zone. Half the game.
I was just going to mention one quick thing. If somebody wants lower level, really nice tickets to the game opener Campbell, we'll give you a set of 2. Make sure you leave a comment below or hit us up inside the Locker Room Access forum, and we'll get you those 2 tickets. It's rare you're going to get lower level tickets at this instance for free. So if you're free and you're available, want to go to the game, hit us up.
How do you decide, T-Dubs?
Well, we'll decide if anyone actually responds. If somebody leaves a comment and says they'll take them, that's simple.
Why wouldn't you pay $10,000 to go see the Camels play? It's a no-brainer, Mark.
No, I love the Camels. Jen Clifton, shout out Jen. She has never missed one show. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Jen Clifton, the best.
Thank you, Jen.
The best.
Thanks. All right, so Wednesday night, 6:30, we're back on for the pregame. We'll do a dive into Campbell with Dougie's favorite player, 5'5" Lawton.
5'6" on the roster.
Yeah, 5'6" on the roster.
He's a freshman. We call him a first year.
You got one taker right now.
Yep. Susan Lewis, hit me up in your messenger, and I'll send you those tickets.
By the way, I saw a TikTok. Of that point guard. He bungee jumped off a picnic table. It's incredible. Watch the Campbell game. It's really good stuff.
Susan, can we call Susan Lewis Sulu from here on out? Sulu, Sulu, Sulu.
All right, folks, we gotta get on.
Susan. Hey, by the way, Susan, after the game, go to the locker room and tell them you're Jason Williford's cousin. You might get in.
That's true. That works.
All right, we look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday night, 6:30, in preparation for our home opener with Ron Sanchez and a whole new squad. After this show, and maybe it'll go on the forum, we'll get some definitions of how people feel about the upcoming season. All right. Thanks again.
Let's go.
Go Hoos.
See you guys Wednesday.
Go Hoos.
Take care.